Well, of course, we're at Bradford Common right now, and there's a lot of history of Bradford in itself. Maybe we could talk a little bit about that before we talk about the tavern.
Why, certainly. As I say, we're really up to our knees in history today. We're in historic Bradford Common in front of historic Kimball Tavern, beside the historic First Church, the White Church, that's been so much a part of Haverhill and Bradford history. And, of course, Bradford was independent for a long time, from 1620 or 40, whatever, right up to about 105 or 10 years ago, when it joined Haverhill.
Right.
We don't know who's the happiest about that.
But why?
Well, it had a lot to do with finances and taxes and liquor licenses and.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. Well, there were influences in the city that were behind the move. Not everybody wanted it.
Right.
And there are still people who aren't happy today that they got it. But we're functioning and we're a good community. Bradford, of course, is largely residential until you get to the Ward Hill section, which is a neighborhood. It's not an independent community any more than Bradford is anymore. Right. Bradford's just a neighborhood of Haverhill now. Ward Hill is a village or a community that's a neighborhood of Haverhill. So that's where the manufacturing element is. That's what helping balance the taxes in Bradford.
Right.
But of course, the history part of what we're into today involves Bradford Tavern, Kimball Tavern, which is right behind us, obviously.
Right.
And it's the site of the beginning of what turned out to be Bradford College until it closed a couple of years ago. But it started as Bradford Academy. It became Bradford Junior College, which was an elite or exclusive finishing school for young ladies of well-to-do families, high positions. And then it became Bradford College,
Right.
Bradford Junior College. Then it became Bradford College, which is what it was when it expired.
Right.
Much to the regret of many, many people.
Now, so the beginnings was at the tavern here.
In 1803, a group of Bradford influential people, let's say, got together and started. They saw the need for a school.
Right.
Now, the tavern had been here since 1697, as I gather. And it was a gathering place for the community. It was, it was where a lot
true. I would imagine a lot of taverns was a gathering, a social
Sure,
event.
One of the few community rooms outside of the meeting house.
Right.
And I don't know if it's a center of community government, but I imagine a lot was done there.
Yeah.
A little grog, a little something to.
Sure. Now, where does Benjamin Greenleaf appear in this?
Benjamin Greenleaf was a mathematician. He was a teacher, really. And his books on mathematics began selling around 1835. And he sold over 1 million copies. And in 1835, that was a lot of copies of books, a lot of books. And a lot of royalties came into him.
Especially something like mathematics,
Mathematics, they had to have them in the schools. I mean, they became textbooks. So in Bradford, there's a school named for him, and there's a street named for him, for his family. The family name carries on. And we came here to celebrate his part in Haverhill history, which was, quite prominent at the day.
Most of those books being mathematician, now mathematics, of course, is sort of a dry subject to the majority of people. And I would imagine that they probably sold those to the schools.
Oh, yes.
But my understanding is that he wrote it in such a way that it was easy to understand. And that's why it sold so well.
Yeah, he was a teacher in Haverhill, and that was what led him to write this series of books. He was principal of the Haverhill Grammar School in 1813, and he was with Bradford Academy when it started until 1836. So he was very prominent in his field. He spent years making calculations for almanacs and advancing public education. So, they had many, many different fields.
Didn't you folks do a celebration a few years ago?
We had a reenactment.
A reenactment?
Reenactment of the signing of the charter. And some of the most prominent people in town took place, all in costume, all authentic, on the scene. Everything in the house is as authentic as it can be.
Right.
Just like Whittier's birthplace. This place has an, there are living quarters, there are people living there,
Right.
but the tavern part of it has been kept or restored to as closely as possible what it was when the college was founded, when the school was founded, the academy.
Now, in that reenactment, I should say, who were some of the people that were involved in that?
Oh, it was the mayor. I think it was Ted Pelosi. There was Fred Malcolm. There was Howard Curtis, King Davis.
Wow.
All the.
Wow, big names.
Oh yes, it was. Some of the big names in the community: Rotary Club and Kiwanis Club, and all many prominent people from all parts of the community. You know, I think there was. I don't know if they were serving authentic grog.
Oh, wow, we hope they were.
I hope they were. Applejack, you know, and that sort of thing.
Boy, I'd like to have the recipes, huh?
But the situation today is this building is owned by the people who bought Bradford Academy. And the future of the building is still in question. The Historical Commission would like to see that it's kept as part of Haverhill history. But it's up to the college, is what it wants to do, up to the college owners, the present owners, what is going to happen to it. It's an expensive thing for the city to be given this,
Right.
and several $100,000 to maintain it, restore it, and keep it up.
But it truly does have a lot of historical significance.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's authentic. I mean, the design and the fixings go back to the 1600s.
Right, right.
So it's an authentic part of Haverhill and Bradford history.